When Jesus walked the earth, he didn't speak from grand stages or echoing cathedrals. Instead, he often chose open hillsides and mountainsides to deliver messages that would echo through eternity. These natural amphitheaters became sacred spaces where crowds gathered, hearts were stirred, and the kingdom of God was declared in ways the world had never seen before. But why hills? And what exactly did Jesus say that inspired thousands to follow him, leave everything behind, and even face persecution? One of the most powerful examples comes from Matthew chapters 5 to 7, where Jesus delivers what's known as the Sermon on the Mount. Picture this: a quiet Galilean hillside, with the Sea of Galilee shimmering below, and hundreds, maybe thousands of men, women, and children sitting attentively on the grass. It's here that Jesus begins with the Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. These words turned the world's values upside down. He wasn't blessing the powerful or wealthy, he was lifting up the humble, the grieving, and the overlooked. What made this so inspiring was the contrast. In a world ruled by Roman oppression and religious legalism, Jesus offered hope to ordinary people. He spoke directly to them, not through rigid laws, but through truth wrapped in grace. He wasn't echoing what they heard in synagogues. He was revealing the heart of God in a way that was personal, radical, and empowering. And he did it while sitting down eye level with the people on a hill, as if to say, "This is for you." Another reason hills mattered was visibility. In Matthew 5:14, Jesus says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden." He was standing on a hill, as he said, it symbolizing the very point he was making. The elevated ground wasn't just about acoustics. It symbolized the visibility and boldness of a life aligned with God's truth. Just as his voice carried over the valley, his message carried across generations. In Luke 6, we see what's often called the Sermon on the Plain. But even then, Jesus had just come down from a mountain after praying all night. Before he speaks, he heals. Power was coming from him and healing them all. Luke tells us. This is important. Jesus didn't just inspire with words. He touched people. He restored them. The crowd came hungry for healing and hungry for truth. And Jesus fed both. What's remarkable is how inclusive his hilltop teachings were. Pharisees had made religion burdensome and exclusive, but Jesus opened the door wide. In Matthew 7, he speaks of asking, seeking, and knocking. Ask, and it will be given to you. Seek, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened. That simple promise inspired crowds who had been shut out by the religious elite. They didn't need credentials, they just needed faith. In John 6, another hill becomes the setting for one of Jesus' greatest miracles. The feeding of the 5,000. A massive crowd had followed him up a mountainside because of the signs and wonders he was performing. Jesus takes 5 loaves and 2 fish, blesses them, and feeds everyone with more left over. But what happens next is crucial. The crowd is so amazed, they want to make him king by force. Jesus withdraws, because his mission isn't political, it's spiritual. Still, that moment on the hill wasn't just about food. It was about showing people the power and provision of God. The hills weren't just teaching platforms, they were spaces of invitation. Jesus wasn't merely giving sermons, he was calling people to transformation. He ended the Sermon on the Mount with a challenge. Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. That kind of teaching, practical, visual, unforgettable, was why crowds left those hills changed. And these were no soft teachings. Jesus spoke of loving enemies, turning the other cheek, forgiving 70 times 7, and denying oneself to follow him. Yet the way he delivered these truths, with love, authority, and clarity, made people want to live differently. The hills gave space for people to breathe, reflect, and truly listen. Jesus also taught the importance of inward transformation. He warned against doing good for show and emphasized prayer in secret. In Matthew 6, he taught the Lord's Prayer not in a temple, but on a hillside, to a mixed crowd of believers, doubters, and seekers. The simplicity of our Father, who art in heaven, gave people a new way to approach God, not through ritual, but through relationship. One reason these moments were so inspiring is because Jesus spoke with authority. Not like the teachers of the law, his words resonated with people's souls. They were more than ideas, they were living truths. His teachings weren't dry doctrines, they were calls to action, to love deeper, to live holier, to walk humbly, and for those sitting on those hills, listening to the wind carry his voice, it felt like heaven was touching earth. Finally, let's remember Matthew 28:2-16. After the resurrection, the disciples meet Jesus on a mountain in Galilee. From that elevated place, Jesus gives the Great Commission. Go and make disciples of all nations. Again, from a hill, he releases a mission that would span the world. So why did Jesus inspire crowds on hills? Because he met them where they were. He used the natural world as a stage, not to elevate himself, but to elevate his message. The hills became holy ground, not because of their height, but because heaven's voice echoed from them. And those who heard him didn't just leave with knowledge, they left with purpose, peace, and power to live differently.